Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. It is I, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg, and have I got a show for you today. We're gonna get into some spicy discussions about casting rumours, and then Andor Season 2, so it's not all negative, it's not all bad. I like to keep things hopeful, and if you're the same, and you love Star Wars like I do, make sure to hit the big subscribe button down below. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight in. We begin by once again diving into the rumour mill. And with all rumours, these are by no means confirmed. They're fun to discuss, but take them with a huge grain of salt. We actually have a couple of casting reports for upcoming Star Wars projects. And I can't imagine fans are going to be too chuffed, but they're interesting nonetheless. Now, I remember back in 2023, there was an anonymous, so-called leak that there was an A-lister, a pop star A-lister, in talks with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. I made two predictions. Either it was going to be Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga for an unspecified future role in Star Wars, and now it seems like a real report. Pinch of salt, as always with Star Wars rumours. Star Wars rumour suggests Lady Gaga has met with Lucasfilm about a future role. If I had to make another prediction, this is going to be for James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie. And to be honest, I've got mixed feelings about it, because while she's undoubtedly quite talented, I really didn't like Joker Folie à Deux. I thought that was a real insult to fans of the first movie. I'm not even a big DC fan, but Joker, the first one in 2019, was just something else. I love that movie. Wasn't a fan of the second one. I really liked Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born. But for Star Wars, I fear it's going to be another Jack Black or Lizzo situation, where the familiarity of the actress is just too distracting. They really have to make sure it works if they're gonna go ahead with this. But like I say, just a rumour. And another one from the same source, Henry Cavill is coming to a galaxy far, far away. This is almost certainly for a movie, and not for one of the TV shows. He's going to be in an undisclosed role for an upcoming Star Wars trilogy. Is it going to be Simon Kinberg's sequel to the sequel trilogy? Episodes 10 to 12. And before I get your thoughts, Rachel Zegler is once again making the rounds. Oh my goodness, I tend to stay away from these kind of controversies, but with the upcoming Snow White live-action adaptation, she's a pretty polarizing figure behind the scenes. Politically, she's been quite divisive, and she's admitted she wasn't a big fan of the original version of the adaptation that she stars in. So she's generated quite a lot of conversation. But despite all of that, she is a big Star Wars fan, often showing her love for the fandom online. She once expressed, if she were to voice or play any character, it'd be Poe Dameron's mum, Shara Bay, a pretty deep-cut reference from the Disney Star Wars comics. And I don't know if you've seen this, but she also loves doing an impression of R2-D2, believe it or not. Well, there have been some whispers that she may be in talks with Lucasfilm for an upcoming role, and you know, on Twitter, I said this: if you thought the backlash to The Acolyte was bad, and I'm not getting political or anything like that, but I understand some of the things she said are pretty controversial, and she's been at the centre of so many different conversations in various fandoms, and a common belief is that things she said could be a major factor for the performance of the upcoming Snow White live-action film. In other words, people think it's gonna flop. Is it dead on arrival because of things she said? Our good friend here says she's been rather unpleasant during certain interviews, but there's no denying she's extremely talented. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was enough to convince me alone, but I can't imagine fans are going to be very happy if she does get a role eventually. That being said, credit where credit is due, she did have a very good take on the Reylo situation. Shipping culture is not my thing, I find it a bit cringe, but if it's your cup of tea, more power to you. But in my estimation, Rachel Zegler has a base take on this. Someone said, why do I feel like Rachel Zegler is a Reylo? And she replied, she isn't. Okay, fair enough. On another occasion, earlier this year, Rachel Zegler poked fun at Disney and the sequel trilogy. After a rumour was circulating that a what-if version of Star Wars is in the works at Disney, Zegler replied, what if somehow Palpatine returned? She's referring to the infamous quote from episode 9, and then she wrote, as a fan of the comics, I would like to throw my hat in the ring to voice Shara Bay, mother of Poe Dameron, and I covered this at the time. So you know, she is a Star Wars fan, but still, I don't think with the whole Snow White debacle, and on the Star Wars front the backlash to The Acolyte, Disney and by extension Lucasfilm wants more drama. And so now guys, we are moving on to Andor's second season. The big two live action projects between 2024 and 2025 are Skeleton Crew and Tony Gilroy's final season of the Rogue One prequel, Andor. And you know, something I really love about Tony Gilroy is that despite the fact he's not the biggest Star Wars nerd, he doesn't know everything about the galaxy far, far away. He couldn't tell you about Shark T's long-lost sister, or how Star Sully is related to Adigalia, but he can write a darn good Star Wars show. And something he recently revealed is that the reason he was able to make Season 2 so different, so unique, and take bold and daring risks is because of how fans reacted to the first season. You know the expression vote with your wallet, or any iteration of how important fan feedback is? This is a great example. Ben Mendelsohn describes the second season as, quote, the duck's guts, Australian for the bee's knees, the creme de la creme. Adria Arjona, who plays Bix, proclaimed it's even better than the first season. And what I've noticed is every actor or creative has praised how intense the stakes get. Genevieve O'Reilly said, Tony Gilroy never lets Mon Mothma off the hook. It's going to be so dramatic and so much fun. And even though the second season was always slated to happen, it went straight into production after the first season. Yes, it got condensed down from 5 seasons to 2, but what really made the second one different was how fans praised the deviation from the typical Star Wars script. Not much reliance on fan service, and took a lot of risks. I can't wait to see the creative freedom Tony Gilroy and others took in the second season. And he says it was down to the fans. But even better news, one of the directors on Skeleton Crew, David Lowery, praises Andor as one of the few TV shows that works better in this format than on the big screen. He seems to be more of a movie guy, and he says Andor was one of the few occasions that something was better than a movie, even though he had nothing to do with it. As a Skeleton Crew creative, he was asked about other Star Wars projects he loves, and he said this, not only does it make sense how good it is, but I'm someone where it's hard to get me to watch a series. Every now and then, I'll see a show where I'm like, okay, that is something better than a movie, and Andor was better than a movie. That's something where I would rather watch 10 episodes than condense it into a great film. And that was the beauty of the risk of making a Rogue One spin-off. Choosing a character who says he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old, and giving him this powerful backstory, the heart of the rebellion. And let's hope Skeleton Crew is also a brilliant show. It's a very different genre, but before the first season of Andor came out, I was saying, don't sleep on Andor, it might surprise you. I'm hoping the same is true of Skeleton Crew.